Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 251. Yes, being recorded on May the 15th, 2013. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Alan Malventano.
And I'm Maury Titleman.
Alan, how can you not be ready for that?
It's like
Honest to God.
1, 2,
I
go.
realized my boom was up at the
Let me
last
slap
second.
my boom down if you know what I mean.
Yes, I had to throw the boom down.
Everybody, it's a recurring problem. I don't get it. It's like he hears me say I'm Ryan Shrout. He hears Josh say I'm Josh Wallace, and he goes, and crap, flip. Each time. We are minus Canadians today. He's on where'd he go, Josh? He went to
He went to the promised land.
he went to
He went to
Telephone,
the
somebody
wherever
get
my
that.
phone is ringing from.
Yeah, somebody get that.
Breast cancer something. No, he went to Scotland.
He went to Scotland.
He's going on a distillery tour.
Walkabout.
A distillery tour. This is a vacation, not a work trip.
I think you got to work hard on that vacation.
You know, I got to tell you, I went through all the paperwork, and he never applied for that vacation time.
You're gonna have to, take away his comp time.
That's coming right out of the check. I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell him.
Yeah.
We've got some stuff to talk about this week, starting with a review / video that I posted up looking at another MiniITX Gaming PC, this time one from iBuyPower called the Revolt, or the Revolt, or the Revolt, depending on which syllable you want to put the emphasis
Is it
on.
revolting?
It's actually not that bad. So I say another because we have looked at several Digital Storm, AVA Direct. I think there's another one as well. The fad of MiniITX gaming PCs pre-built is rampant, I guess I would say. This one has pretty good specs: Core i7 3770K, a custom-built Z77 MiniITX motherboard, although I think who did we decide we thought it was made by? Asus. It's branded iBuyPower on the board, but it's, they're obviously not doing their own manufacturing or anything. It does have an integrated NZXT CPU water cooler, a GTX 670 graphics card, 8 gigs of memory, an SSD from Intel, and a 1 terabyte WD Blue hard drive. Now, if you haven't seen the Revolt, I really don't know how to say this. This is what it looks like. It's not a bad-looking machine. It's one of those things where you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, right? So it's all plastic. There's no metal on the outside that you can see or anything like that. The part I don't like here is there's two different shades of white on the side panel, and that is because one side of it has this clear acrylic that disperses some LED light, so you get some color in this area right here. And then this side is it's no lights there. Those are actual air vents. So it's just weird looking to me to have two different shades of white on the sides of the system. That's a little bit better picture there. The front of it is all black. It's plastic. You can see some fingerprints up here from me and Ken and I moving it around for
Those
photos.
aren't fingerprints.
Well, we're going to go with fingerprints.
Okay.
I did have to send the system back, so we're going to go with fingerprints. I don't want any cleaning bills. More air vents on top. So you're either going to like the design or you're not going to like the design, and that's nothing that we can change. The back of it, here's your motherboard outputs, you get your display outputs, you get your power supply, and this is kind of the one big problem I have with all these MiniITX builds is this power supply. They're using 1U power supplies, server, rack mount style power supplies, which that little tiny fan right there,
Super loud.
and you can't do anything to make them quieter.
Well, you can. It involves a hammer.
Well, yeah, and not getting any airflow through the power supply, right? So that's been the primary problem with it. Also, notice on the back plate there are no display outputs on this motherboard, this custom-made motherboard, and also the name of the website. So there you go. You can set it on the side. You can stand it up. When you start to take it apart, when you look inside the white plastic, it really is just a black square metal frame, right? So it's just like any other normal kind of vanilla MiniITX chassis that they just wrapped some white and black plastic around. Not cable, I don't know how, to be honest with you, to be completely fair, I'm not sure how much of this was our fault, but I don't remember it looking very good before we took it apart either, in terms of cable routing and that kind of stuff. But considering they're getting a water cooler with a 140 millimeter radiator, 140 millimeter fan, the reservoir and pump all kind of integrated in, your GTX 670, you can see that the power supply actually rests above the GTX 670. The optical drive here, the storage drives are upside down. You have to remove a lot in order to see this photo, and there's a whole plate that kind of sits underneath it that separates the different sections of the case. And it's not easy to get to. It's not easy to take apart. It's not meant to be taken apart, though. Here you can see the water cooled a little bit closer, and the
Ryan,
graphics
does that
are-
come? Does that come overclocked out of the box, or is it just stock speeds with the turbo mode?
This was stock speeds. This one was just 3770K with all the turbo boost enabled, everything like that, which some of the other ones that I had gotten in had been overclocked. I don't really have a problem with this not being overclocked.
No, I was just asking because that water cooler they're using reminds me of the H90, the Corsair H90. It looks like it's an Asetek brand rebranded 140 millimeter water cooler. So that's a very nice all-in-one unit. If any of you guys in the chat room are watching want to see what that water cooler can do, just look at our H90 and H110 reviews.
Yeah.
And I mean that's a very nice unit they put in there. So
it works well. We didn't have any issues with noise from the CPU fan or from the graphics card. Really, it was all from kind of the power supply, which has been the problem we've had throughout on these MiniITX systems. Performance was pretty good. You know, I threw in a 3D Mark Firestrike result and a Cinebench result, so you can get an idea of what CPU and GPU performance is like. It should not be a surprise if everything is running at stock. It's 3770K. CPU performance and GTX 670 GPU performance, so take that for what you will. It was running Windows 8. I guess the thing that really makes it stand out as being a solid build and a good system is the fact that they weren't charging a whole lot of markup for all the components inside it. I did a build here on PC Part Picker. Though there's one error in here I'll mention where I took, okay, here's a Corsair H60, the 3770K, a gigabyte motherboard with integrated Wi-Fi, 8 gigs of memory, the same SSD, a similar hard drive, a MiniITX case, and power supply, and we got around $1,400. It should be a little bit less than that, though, because I didn't realize I selected a 4 gig GTX 670 when I took this screenshot rather than 2
moron.
gig. So take another $50 off that. Thanks, Josh. And the starting price of the Revolt R770 is $13.99. Is that what I had in here? Yeah, $13.99 for our configuration. So you're talking about, even if I say, you know, you pick a less expensive case, you pick a less expensive graphics card, maybe you pick a less expensive hard drive instead of a 7200 RPM, maybe $100 difference between these systems, and that obviously you get, it's pre-built, it's pre-configured, you get a warranty with it and all that kind of stuff. So they got much closer to the value of the parts for the system than
one would expect.
yeah, and that the other systems had gotten to, right? And they're using a custom case, but it's obviously a much cheaper custom case than say what who's this? Is it Digital Storm that had the other one? Yeah, Digital Storm had this system, right? That was a custom design, but it was all metal. Whereas the metal in the iBuyPower is basically a standard case frame with some plastic molding built around it. So
Did you include Win 7 or Win 8 with that?
no, I
install?
didn't. Actually, you're right. I did not include an operating system in that build. So that would actually add another, what, $80
$80 to $90, sure.
to it or so. So, you know, it's one of those things where a lot of people complain about, they don't complain, I don't want to do that, I want to build my own. And there's, obviously we support that. That's what we want most people to do anyway. And we know most people who listen to the show and watch the video are doing that to begin with. But, you know, sometimes you don't have time to, you're buying system from somebody else. You know, like I've got a friend, Justin, who wanted a gaming PC, but he didn't want to go through the trouble of buying it. He's got kids and he's working a lot of hours. So I said, okay, here, you can buy this. It's going to be small. It's going to be relatively quiet, you know, and boom, you're ready to go. You've got a pre-configured system. And you can do that in a small form factor here as well, which is kind of nice. So check out that review if you haven't. And then let's talk with Alan about a storage article that went up this week.
I haven't talked to Alan in a long time. Has he changed much?
He got a little more pixely.
Nice.
Yes.
Everybody seems pixely. How about we do this, Alan? Let's talk with Alan about the Seagate thin SSHD 500 gig third generation hybrid.
Okay, so do I sound okay at least coming across?
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, good. Yeah, so Seagate revamped. This is, I guess, third generation of their hybrid drive line. There was a Momentous XT, came out in a 500 gig model, and then later they came out with the 750 gig model, which was actually a little bit confusing because they didn't call it anything different, but it was actually a newer generation controller. The 750 gig model communicated faster. It was 6 gigabit serial ATA. They made some other refinements like that. And then now it's third generation, and there's two different models. So there's a thin model that's 500 gig, and there is I don't want to call it thick, but it's just standard, standard thickness drive for a laptop as far as laptop hard drives go, and that is 1 terabyte in capacity. It has 2 platters instead of just one. But all of the background stuff, all the the controller, the flash, the MLC flash memory cache, all the other stuff is basically the same, just with 2 different capacities.
Look at how skinny that is.
It's the same, but it's revised. Okay, so it's third generation, and it is in fact faster. The easiest way to test these things, because you can't really do just the whole round of benchmarks, is not going to show you anything except for what the hard drive itself does, which it's a laptop hard drive. Laptop hard drives don't really, especially in hybrids, they're not 7,200 RPM, they're not 10,000 RPM, they're really slow, 5,400 RPM.
Boo.
There's high platter density, so as long as you're doing stuff in a straight line, they're pretty quick. They'll go like 100 meg per second, which is nothing to sneeze at for a laptop drive. And the idea is that with a hybrid cache going on in the background, that should take care of most of the random access stuff, while the platter worries about most of the sequential type of stuff. So easiest way to test them is just repeated runs of PC Mark. That's
Okay,
really the
so
easiest way.
this massive graph of data that I'm looking at, that, by the
I'm
way,
gonna run
Alan,
PC Mark. I'm gonna run PC Mark all over your face.
which, by the way, Alan is using the old logo still.
Oh, darn. Fail.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
I'll take that
I'm
one.
all about retro. And
Yeah.
apparently so is Alan.
Yeah, it was
So
throwback.
let me zoom in on this a little bit. So what we're looking at is on the Seagate SSHD 500. These are 3 separate runs,
Yes.
right? Which one was the first one, the top one or the bottom one?
It goes top to bottom.
Okay.
So in general, for any of those, blocks of 3 on there, it's going to look worse on top. Your lowest results will be the top results, and then it'll improve as it goes down. And what I noticed interestingly about the new SSHD is it's much more aggressive on caching stuff that's been written. So it actually sees some speed increases even on the first run. For example, what is that orange line? I think it's Media Center.
It is Media Center.
Yeah, it was able to cache. So the way PC Mark works is it basically has a file that it dumps onto the drive that you're testing, and then it does all of its access pattern stuff within that file. Well, this drive was aggressively caching that, just the writing of the file, so that by the time it got to its first pass, it had already started caching stuff. Where for all of the other hybrid solutions we've tested so far, whatever their algorithms are, they're not that aggressive on caching the stuff that's written. So we're not sure. It would be really hard to figure out exactly how that plays out. In other words, is this going to cache stuff so aggressively that it makes other stuff fall off of the cache sooner?
Gotcha.
That's something that's almost impossible to test for sure, because you'd have to somehow know exactly what stuff out of 8 gig worth of cached data got cached. So
now at the bottom of this, you have SSD 311. This is the Intel drive, like the
that's Intel's air quote standard issue caching type drive, right? That's that SLC flash 20 gig drive that was back when they were pushing the RST caching. They said, okay, this is, here's your ideal caching drive, people. So we threw those results in as a form of comparison. The reason we did that is it's SLC. It doesn't go 6 gigabit, but it's very high across the board. In other words, and you'll notice that those results are pretty consistently, right at the center,
Yep.
all the way down, like all the different results. Whereas if you compare that with the new drive, even though it's just all on one hard drive and it's not using SLC flash and it's using a lot less of it, some of those results, well, the media center is just blows it out of the water.
Yeah.
But a lot of those results are coming really close, right? Because it's about 2/3, 3/4 of the way there. And considering that's the pure SSD that you're looking at the very bottom of that graph, if you go up one block from that, you'll notice that those results are actually even closer to what the SSHD is doing. So you have, the Momentus, which is actually just the platter, the raw platter drive, not a hybrid version of basically kind of the same drive. It's actually a faster one. It's 7,200 RPM instead of 5,400.
Cheatery.
But still, it's good to see that this is a 5,400 RPM drive with all the caching stuff all built in, all giving you similar results, if not maybe a little better than you trying to do the whole, convoluted caching thing. Which,
Gotcha.
Also keep in mind, that involves, you have to have driver stuff, you have to configure the system the right way. It's more complicated with the SSHD. You just plug the thing in and it's all in the drive. Just takes care of it for you.
Yeah, but remember, Alan, because the more you go down, the better you look.
Yeah.
In the graphs.
Yeah.
That's just science.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
mean, you've been to Vegas.
Boot times improved as well. With the yeah, you like that?
Nothing.
They are lower in the graphs as well, going down much further for the new SSHD.
All the way down.
And it only gets beat out a little bit by the
Beat out, huh?
by the
Really?
RST solution. Only because RST, that thing, it's able to handle really small random I/O much better. But that goes for anything that's a pure SSD connected to an Intel controller.
What OS are you using on this? Is this 7
all
or
of that
8?
is all of that is 7. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
Yep,
did
and
you
Huh?
did you wipe the drives before you inserted them?
Yes, before and after.
Oh.
Dear Lord.
I can't believe nobody wants to pay to sponsor this show. Can you? I don't understand it at all. Anyway.
So the big takeaway here is this model significantly lower cost as compared to the second and the first generation. Much lower. $100 for the 500 gig thin model and 120 for the 1 terabyte, which I'm about to just order one. Like, they didn't send me a 1 terabyte sample. I'm just gonna buy one. I'll put it in something.
All right, we can do that.
And of course we'll write it up once it arrives.
So, what does this fall into in terms of cost per gig, and would you recommend something like this?
Yes, really low cost per gig. Granted, this is no SSD, right? It's not. Everything is not going to go SSD speed. It has to be cached. But anybody that's just, if you have regular, you have your OS installed on whatever you're assuming laptop, I wouldn't recommend really going for a desktop in these things. Desktop, you probably want to stick with a smaller SSD and use that Intel caching if you have it available. But laptop, there's really no excuse now. $120 for a terabyte, and you're getting solid
pretty
state.
good.
You're getting solid state performance. I would say probably most of the time, for the stuff that matters, right? For your application loading, that kind of stuff. As long as it's in the cache, it's really going to go pretty darn fast. Especially on a laptop, and especially all in one package, and just at that cost. I mean, $120.
So there's no reason not to have a cached hard drive.
Yeah,
at this point.
this really gets rid of, yeah.
Fancy
and then I
editor's
have a
choice
feeling-
logo too.
I have a feeling that this is the kind of drive that will get people to get the bug for it. Like all those guys that have previously been, I'm fine with my whatever, hard drive and whatever. I think anyone that even if you go incrementally upgrade to this thing, if you are any kind of a power user, this is going to be the wake-up call for you, and then you'll probably end up spending a lot more money and just buy a huge SSD for your laptop. But yeah, for most people, this is the way to go, really.
Cool. So check out the full review at PCPro.com if that's not enough information for you or not enough to convince you that you might need to pick up one of these Seagate SSHDs. Now, before we move on to some news items, we want to do what will likely, this will be our last IndieGoGo Fund project update before the project ends. We'll probably update it after it ends, of course, too. We have... Oh, let me refresh this, make sure this didn't go down anymore. We have 52 hours remaining in our project, and we are very close to our secondary goal of 20,000. Just again, like, we've had 243 funders. That is awesome, and the amount that you guys have been able to produce for us has been simply awesome, right? We're very thankful for the support you guys are showing us. We're getting a lot of comments with the donations that say, hey, love the podcast, love the website, love the stuff you're doing, keep it up. I assume they're not talking about Josh, but
No.
some of them might be. I don't know. But we're still striving. We got 52 hours left to try to get that final little push. We did start reinvesting in our infrastructure already through some of these funds. We bought a couple of cameras today and testing them out. Placements and all that kind of stuff, and if I look weirder than normal, that's because of the new camera. We haven't had a lot of time to change it yet, but don't forget,
It brings out your freckles.
Great. Oh, everybody went blocky again. Great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
blocky. Blame
We can
Ken.
use
It's
some of
the
this
new
money
camera.
for infrastructure upgrade. Yeah, I have a new camera. Josh, obviously, not getting a new camera.
I have a 1997 camera.
480. 360 by 240, something like that.
280 by
So,
whatever.
I did want to mention for people that maybe have not contributed yet or want to contribute a little bit more that Josh was willing to donate some additional hardware for a new perk, if you will. We're calling it what did I call it? Signed Legacy Hardware. Signed Legacy Hardware. So,
Signed.
we will autograph it and/or autograph a piece of paper that you can put around the hardware, depending on what your purposes are, what your desires are. We have 2 AMD K62 processors, 2 Athlon XP processors, 2 AMD Duron processors, a pair of Rage 128 Pro graphics cards, an Athlon 700 or 800 processor, and 1 original Radeon. Although I will tell you that one has already been spoken for. It doesn't show up here as a claimant because they had donated 100 to get into the Gold Club, and then they donated 100 more so they could get into the signed legacy hardware section. And then we also have the Asus A7V333 motherboard, a classic. So if you're interested in that, go check out the IndieGoGo page. You don't have very much time left. If you're listening to this downloaded, you have even less time. Approximately 12 to 16 hours less at the minimum, depending on how long it takes Ken to get it posted and for you to download it and listen. So we have spaces open in the Gold Club. You can get a T-shirt. You can get a banner-free version of the website. You can Skype call with us. You can join the podcast. You can get signed legacy hardware. You can come visit the tour and have Ken make you lunch. Maybe not make, maybe buy. We got a microwave. We could figure something out. You can still test your skills against Fatality if you want. Any game. I'm even going to let you play something like Civ 5. I don't really care. It's not my time. So we'll just broadcast it and stream it. It'll be fun. And if you're interested in having your product or service plugged on the podcast, we can do that for you as well. Josh, if you have anything in mind that you want plugged, just let me know, or Alan or anybody like that you want to mention something that you want to bring up. I will let you do that, but you have to pay $500. Fair enough?
Sure.
Great. So keep in mind that if you have not already, we really appreciate the support that we have gotten already for this fund. It's gone well beyond what I had actually honestly expected to see, and it's awesome. It's awesome. So if you want to check that out, just go to PCPro.com, look on the right-hand side of the site. You'll see a picture of me that looks like this, wearing a blue polo shirt, and you can click it. It'll take you to the project page and give you all the information you need. Again, 52 hours remaining, and we thank everybody for their support of PC perspective. I don't know. I was going into a different script there. So let's talk about some news. Do we have everybody back online, Ken? Are we good? Are we squarey? Are we pixely? Alan's still pixely. We can't get the Texan. Well, we have one Texan that looks okay, right?
One.
I don't know. You turn on anti-aliasing, Alan.
Yep, I'm
Try
okay.
that. Well, let's talk Nvidia releases first fiscal quarter 2013 results. They're a month behind everybody else. Josh, is there anything interesting in here?
They made more money than people expected, and their margins have really increased dramatically. And that's a good thing for Nvidia, because they're not, they're $930 million in revenue or some.
Yeah.
Less than the $1 billion that they were, doing for quite a few quarters in a row. But with the marketplace as it is, Windows 8 certainly hasn't driven people to buying new hardware. Competition from AMD has been pretty robust. And just the macroeconomic environment that we're sitting
good
in.
words. Good word
Thank you.
usage. That
Thank
was
you.
good.
I too could be an analyst.
Well, no, you don't have enough idiots ready to pay you.
You're
So,
right, but
be an
I need
analyst.
to.
Other,
As far as I know, you're the only idiot paying me. So, damn it, I had to bring that up. But Tegra's growing for them. It's not leaps and bounds like they're hoping. Their
Yeah.
graphics business is doing well. Their 600 series has been really good for them. They've been able to produce those at will, and been selling well. Their marketing has obviously until recently taken a big break in terms of money they're spending out, because AMD has had 3 rounds of never settled bundle, and only now have we gotten all that free to play credits.
Yeah.
And then Metro Last Light. That's their big push right now.
Yep. You wouldn't have heard about it though because they're not marketing it, but it's a different
not
discussion.
much, but I see a few ads here and there. Not on PC per mind.
Yeah, well, can't say the offer wasn't out there.
Yeah.
It's good to see, that they're doing better. Obviously, they wanted Tegra to be larger than it was. What was the income? 800 million on Tegra? Something
No,
like
it's
that?
not that much.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Tegra? No, it's
Not profit,
probably about a
but-
third of their overall
Okay.
is Tegra,
All right.
and then the rest is going to be Tesla, Quadro,
Gotcha.
and of course.
Well, let's not forget a new product that NVIDIA is coming out with. One that will either be very successful or very not successful. I'm talking, of course, about Shield. No longer Project Shield, completely renamed to just NVIDIA Shield. That's how you know it's for real, guys. Yeah, not Thor, Shield. They've announced pricing. They're taking pre-orders. It's $349. It will be available in June. They're saying by late June it'll be shipping. In case you don't remember, it is a Tegra 4 powered mobile Android gaming device. Those are all words that string together to form a product that how many people will need, I'm not sure. It's an interesting device, right? So if you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. It is essentially a not a clone of an Xbox 360 controller, but let's just say it looks a lot like an Xbox 360 controller. Nothing wrong with that. Great controller. And it has a 5-inch, they're not calling it a retina, what do they call it? It's a high-res, it's a 720p screen.
A retinal
Display.
Retinal.
And it's nice looking display, and you got joysticks, and you got thumb pads, and you got buttons or whatever, and it's got a battery, and it's Tegra 4 processor. It was the first device announced with Tegra 4 in it. 72 GPU cores, 2 gigs of RAM, a console-grade controller, multi-touch 5-inch 720p retinal display, integrated speakers with bass reflex, tuned port audio system. And we think this is Shield's sleeper feature. That's actually something NVIDIA put in there. NVIDIA thinks that that's Shield's sleeper feature. 802.11n, 2x2 MIMO, pure Android, latest Android Jelly Bean operating system from Google. And there's more. What do they say here? 16 gigs of memory, GPS, Bluetooth, mini HDMI output. Now, the feature that I think is really interesting is what they are now calling, what do they call it now?
Grid?
No,
Gay-related immunodeficiency?
Game Stream? I don't know what they're calling it.
Oh.
Let me click over to their Shield website. Play PC is what it is called. Guess what it lets you do? It lets you play the PC games on your Shield and then stream those games to a TV. Now you might say, oh, that kind of sounds dumb. Why not just have the PC near the TV? But there are a lot of cases where that's not useful, right? You've got your gaming PC, you've got one behemoth gaming PC up in your office. Your wife says, no, you are absolutely not allowed to have that down there by my TV. That has happened to me several times. This allows you to, you use the Shield basically as a controller, and it will stream wirelessly to your TV. I guess it has to have a Miracast device on the TV as well, unless your TV happens to be one of those brand new ones that integrates it into it. But it is only launching as a beta feature. What does that mean? I'm not exactly sure, but it says it will be a variety of supported PC games, and it's featuring Arkham City, Borderlands 2, Dishonored, Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 2, and Skyrim. That doesn't mean that's all it's going to support, day one in the beta, but it definitely means that, well, here it says, the beta will feature a select number of supported games from Steam, access to Steam Big Picture, and a set of recommended routers. After conclusion of the beta period, users will receive free software patch to the official release. So that's disappointing if that's
Hey, Ryan.
not as awesome as I hope. Yes.
Can you use the Couchmaster with this?
You can. It's completely unnecessary. But you can have your arms rest there and use the joystick. Sure.
Hug me, Couchmaster.
Right.
while I play
One odd thing with that though is the games they're offering. They're at least a year old, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real new. I'm sorry. Dishonored is a fairly recent game, but there's no. Let me put it a different way. No high end.
There's no Crysis 3. There's no AMD games. That's true.
Yeah, there's no Bioshock.
Bioshock Infinite would be a good one.
Um,
Well, so here's the thing. They're going to use the GeForce Experience application, which, as of the 320 drivers that came out, there's a 320 that was released in beta, right? I think if you look, GeForce Experience now ships as part of that driver, and so you may never ever download a driver installer package again. It will handle all that automatically for you if you want it to. And so it uses that software to kind of interact between the Shield on your local device, on your local network, I mean. So I'm not really sure. Obviously, every environment that I've used it in so far has been a controlled environment. I believe that is the feature that will actually sell this device. I don't know if there's a big market for a dedicated Android gaming platform. Ask Sony about the PS Vita, right? And it's got a huge backlog or a huge catalog of games to support it. So, and it's this $349. How much is a PS Vita, Ken? $250? Something like that. This is more expensive than that. It's not actually an expensive device considering what you get if you compare it to like modern day smartphones. But you don't have cell connection here. You don't have that radio. Cuts a little bit out of it. But it's still, my guess is that Nvidia is not making a huge amount of profit on the hardware, would be my guess. But they are hoping
Well, they're cutting out the middleman on the chip.
That's true. That's true. They are. But, I mean, they're still, having to have it outsourced to build, and you've got this 5-inch display on it that is multi-touch. You're building a controller. You've got a larger battery. I don't know. It seems to me that if I can't buy a Samsung, if I can't buy a Samsung Galaxy S4 without a contract for $500 or $600, the chances are that they're not making a whole lot of money. They may not be losing a bunch, but my guess is that they're cutting it pretty close.
The one thing to keep in mind with this too, Ryan, is that they are going against tablets with this. I mean, the only killer app they have on this thing that's basically not offered on a tablet is their direct streaming interface, and that's in beta, and we don't know what kind of support that's going to have as games come out either. So, this thing could just be could end up just being a blip because the tablet's just obliterated. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't, June will know. Like June, I'll be able to play with it, and we'll have one, and we'll be able to test it and use it and see if it's worth having. What's that? We'll frame rate it, Ken says. We'll figure out a way. I don't know how yet.
It's,
so we'll do it.
it's powered by Dorito chips, though.
Cool Ranch or...
Don't get the flaming ones; it'll burst into flames.
Yeah.
Other news, Corsair, we have, I guess 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer, we talked about potential problems with power supplies in the Haswell launch, that the fact that some of the new sleep states in the processor required pulling 0.05 amps, is that right, on
Yes.
the 12-volt line.
12-volt rail.
And mini power supplies apparently not built for that, as it turns out. So we're starting to see a little bit of a reaction to it. Corsair was the first to get us information where they gave us this table that looks at a bunch of power supplies that either support or to be determined likely will support Haswell CPUs. So they've done a good job of kind of getting out in front of it. If you have any of the AXI series, the AX series, the HX series, TX, TXM, and GS, all of those support Haswell today. If you have some of the CX, CXM, or VS, and those are the lower cost, I guess they call them builder series models, they are to be determined. It looks like one of the CX 750s. They're just literally in the process of we're trying to test it all at this time. So expect that to be improved upon. And then Seasonic released information as well on its Haswell ready power supplies. Looking at the Platinum Series, the Platinum Fanless, the X Series, the G Series, M12-2 Evo, and yeah, that's all we have listed so far. So if you go to PCPro.com, you can look up Haswell or power supplies, look up these posts, go to the podcast post, PCPro.com/podcast, and you'll get links to these two posts that mention the specific power supplies that are being supported. And I imagine as we get closer to Haswell launch, we will see more of these news releases from all the other power supply manufacturers after they've had time to kind of verify and judge that kind of stuff. So
I did some looking because I have an Enermax sitting in my main box.
Yep.
And it's like a Galaxy 1200 or something. Older power supply, but really nice one. It looks like a lot of the older, beefier power supplies will support Haswell, but only from a C6 perspective. I mean, it looks like they've been building in C6 support for a couple years now,
okay.
at least. It's the C7 state that won't necessarily be supported by your older power supplies.
Yeah.
But that's not. It's not too bad of a situation because you probably will be able to disable that somehow, either in Windows itself or in the BIOS.
Yeah, and I think for desktop users, getting into that C7 state is not as crucial. I think it will be very crucial for notebooks and laptops and that kind of stuff. But for desktop users, is it cool? Yeah. Is it necessary? Maybe not. And I think what you will find is probably the motherboard manufacturers will ship with the BIOS set to disable C7 by default, just so they don't get any calls about, hey, I bought this motherboard and it crashes when it goes to sleep, type of thing. So we'll see as we get closer. We've already starting to get some of our products in, so now it's a matter of getting their official statements and all that. Josh, there was a news. This is not new news. I don't know if maybe AMD just wanted to reiterate the fact that they have a semi-custom business unit that they claim creates new revenue streams, building custom APUs, the primary example so far being the PlayStation 4 and probably the upcoming. When do they announce this new Xbox? Next Tuesday. It'll be in that too, just a surprise. So what do we think about this? Is just this them saying, hey, well, look at this cool stuff we're doing, maybe we can get some new customers this way, or they just wanted to tell the market, hey, just because our processor business may not be going great, we have other outlets?
It could be a combination of all those things because they've been doing this since GameCube, when they had the flipper chip, and I can't and Broadway, yeah, both.
I don't know.
ATI. Well, yeah, Broadway was IBM, flipper was ArtX, and ArtX was bought by ATI, which was bought by AMD. But anyway, they've been doing this.
Dolphin?
What?
Was Flipper the name of the chip in Dolphin?
Flipper. Well, I can't remember. GameCube, the original GameCube.
Oh no, Dolphin was a Nintendo console, wasn't it? I think it was. Never mind. What's that?
Well, GameCube was Nintendo.
GameCube was Dolphin. Okay. All right. Never mind.
Anyway. Yeah, Flipper, and then they had an upgraded version in the Wii, and then of course they had what's there now in the Wii U.
Right.
Wii U, Wii U, Wii U.
My birdie too.
Parody. Yeah, that movie. Anyway, so yeah, I mean they've been designing things for other guys for a long time, and it seems that they are now more advertising this more industry wide, and so they're hoping obviously to pick up more customers because essentially the customers come to them and say, "Hey, we need you to design a chip that does this, this, this.
Yep.
These are the specifications we need. We need a couple of extras that you need to design in." AMD comes back to them and says, "Okay, this is going to be, an X amount of money to design this, and then we're going to license it out to you for royalties that are, again, an X amount." So all of the research and development for this particular chip is then paid for, and then all the residuals start coming in, and that's
Ooh.
a nice little income because that's essentially what ARM does with their Cortex series.
Yep.
All the previous ones, their Mali graphics, and so it's a solid business plan because all your work is paid for, and then as you're going on to new work, you're still getting residuals from the royalties from Sony, big names, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, these guys who are not going to go bankrupt anytime soon. And this helps AMD as well because a lot of their basic technology is pretty modular. They've been able to implement it, fairly easily. And I say fairly easily because this still involves many thousands and tens of thousands of man hours to get a design up, running, fabricated,
Right.
and meeting the specifications of the customers. But when you've got a lot of the basic R&D, making these modular parts, and then being able to fit them all together and do the job, it's a lot easier than just doing something from scratch. And so AMD is now advertising that, hey, we do this, we're happy to do it, we've had great success, our track record is pretty impeccable. When you consider that the 3 next generation game consoles all run on their technology, it's a good thing.
All right.
So, yeah, it's it's not surprising, but it's nice that they're actually advertising this and they're hoping to turn this into a larger stream of income than what they've had recently.
Do you guys remember when everybody thought Microsoft Windows Blue was going to be like this whole new big thing, subscription model, maybe all that kind of stuff? Well, it turns out Windows Blue is now officially Windows 8.1, coming sometime before Christmas and free to anyone currently running Windows 8. And apparently the changes they're making are much lower than we might have initially expected. It will not be a new OS. This is what Jeremy wrote before he abandoned us for vacation. This will not be a new OS, merely tweaks added to the existing kernel focusing on the GUI and especially the new start screen. It is not a reversal of the new look, nor does it lessen the emphasis on touchscreens, but it could make some compromises for those who prefer a mouse, keyboard, and desktop. And there's also the possibility of it being a subscription-based service pack. Is this an inevitable change for Windows software? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
This is I listened to the Windows Weekly thing on Twit a lot.
Yep.
And Mary Jo Foley's been talking about this for a while. And basically, Microsoft is taking a few steps back because they realized that the design was too radical. People wholesale just didn't like it. If you have a touchscreen laptop, my wife's got one. Windows 8 works. When it's working well, it works really, really well with the touchscreen and with the laptop. If you have desktop keyboard and mouse, as the thing was saying, it doesn't work so well. What they did, from what I've heard, the major changes that they're making is they are allowing the direct to desktop boot with Windows Blue, and they are also adding a start button. They're not adding a start menu, they're adding a start button. Basically, it's going to be a little button that will show a few menus if you click on it. Or actually, wait, well, let me rephrase that. It won't. If you click on it, it'll take you to the Metro screen, basically the tile screen. That's from what I've heard based on previews of Blue. The subscription thing is still up in the air. Microsoft's been trying to do that for years. They did it with Office 365. but they're still offering Office 2013 if you just want to pay for it all at once. So whether or not they actually go to subscription model with Blue, we'll see.
Okay. I with the Adobe announcement recently, this Microsoft thing wouldn't surprise me. I think it would be annoying. It's just another. I need some service that will collect all of these charges that go to my credit card and just make them one larger charge, so I don't have like 40 different $10 a month charges coming from all of my bills and all these subscription services for music and for video and for Netflix and for Hulu and whatever this other crap that you get. I just want to see all those individual things. Just give me one post to my credit card so I'm oblivious and I just pay the one thing, right? That way they can take advantage of consumers forever, as I think it should be.
The one thing worries me about this is that they are stressing that it will be available through the Microsoft Store. If I've installed Windows 8 before, and you don't have to sign up for a Microsoft account to use Windows 8, but if you have to use the Windows Store, you have to have a Microsoft account. Period.
Son of a...
So,
I don't want to do
that's
that.
kind of their
Dredge
way
up
of
that damn old
in.
Hotmail account that you built in 1998.
You know what I have to use? I have to use a live.com account that was hacked 3 years ago that I've never been able to change the email address back from. But I can log in through it with a 17-character password or something like that now. But they won't let me change the email address again. Thanks, Microsoft.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Oh, God.
So I know you guys like new cases. How about a curved one?
No.
No? Why not?
No. They're
I heard that
saying
Liam
that
Lee
this thing could be on
spider-pasted
display.
real
If I bought that and put that in display in my living room as a piece of Art Deco, my wife would probably throw it at me as I was running out the door for my life.
I like that they use the Intel stock cooler in it. It's MiniITX. There's some space constraints, writes Jeremy. It's from Leanne Lee, brushed aluminum, the PC Q30. Very clever names. Curved shape design and large acrylic front window, and the fully aluminum design allows users to show off their systems and is sure to be the talking piece of any room.
Talking piece.
There it is. There it is. There's the profile of it there. I don't think it looks that bad. I think it's
look at the stuff they put inside it.
Do you pick it up and say, "I'd like to thank the Academy"?
Dual LED illuminated power button. I/O panel with USB 3. Elegant aesthetics. Look, it says it right there. You can't deny it if it says it in the press release, guys.
It looks like a monk
aesthetics.
is trying to puke in that picture. The monk is going, Europe.
That's really weird. I think you have some personal issues you need to work out.
Probably.
So when does it say? What's it say?
Give me
Availability
some
on this?
Rorschach. I'll show you some personal.
This will be available in June in the U.S. and Canada. So Canadians rejoice as well.
Right, we have a Rorschach test for this thing. Show your wife a picture of this case.
Uh-huh.
The picture the main picture with the innards and all that.
Yeah.
And ask her if you can put that on your coffee table.
It's art, honey. It's art.
Mm-hmm.
And you leave the SLI bridge covers on your graphics card too. Anyway, moving on. Also, apparently, a little bit of a leak from NEC about some Haswell laptop specs. Anything interesting in this stuff, guys? Nobody read it. Scott's gonna be disappointed.
Oh, Scott.
It's in Japanese. Who reads Japanese here?
Nobody. I read it through Google Translate.
Well, then you know it's
bad
good.
Translation.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it is it does have a full 1080p screen.
One of them does, yeah.
I believe it's a touch. It's a 15-inch touch screen laptop, which is nice because most of the touch screens right now are somewhere between 11 and 13 form factor. The 15-inch ones are few and far between. You do end up paying quite a bit for it, though. It looks like the prices are somewhere between $1,900 and $2,000, which is well beyond my price range.
has anybody heard of BD? I've never heard of BDXL before. Blu-ray drive XL, 100 to 128 gig Blu-ray discs. Interesting. But they do, the interesting thing here is that they're talking about 4th generation Intel Core processors, which, wink wink, is the Haswell part. And my guess, they don't really mention specifics of what graphics SKUs they're using.
Well, going back there, that's like a 5-layer Blu-ray disc.
Oh, BDXL? I've never heard of that before.
125 gigs. That's...
They actually use optical media still there.
Yeah.
But,
Looks like it's coming with an AC adapter as well, or the more expensive one, which would be nice.
Wait a minute, what? Oh,
Comes with
802.11 AC. I thought you meant like a
Yes.
power adapter. And I was like, well, I hope all the laptops ship with power adapters, Maury. Yeah, so 802.11 AC.
Attached to it.
I don't really like the way they look either. Like the super shiny body and stuff is blah. Fingerprint heaven.
Those are not fingerprints.
Yeah, again with the innuendo. A couple other things to talk about real quick. Never Settle Reloaded bundle gets a level up bonus. So if you just recently bought a 7900,
You're mad.
or 7800, you're probably a little upset right now because you missed out on a couple of new games. As of today, if you buy a 7970 or 7950, you used to just get Crysis 3 and BioShock Infinite. I'm sorry? You used to just get BioShock Infinite and Crysis 3 included with your graphics card. Now you also get Tomb Raider. If you bought a 7870, you used to get BioShock and Tomb Raider. Now you also get Crysis 3. Level up. It says so right there. See that? Level up. I don't really like it.
Thrax needs to level me up, but he's in Canada.
He's in Canada. So it's interesting to see this matrix of stuff. I mean, look at that. You buy 7990, you're getting 8 games. You buy 7970, you're getting 4 games now. Crysis, BioShock Infinite, Tomb Raider, and Blood Dragon. You buy 7870 gigahertz edition, you're getting those same games. Crysis, BioShock, Tomb Raider, and...
You should probably edit that out.
So much for my mouse. My mouse.
You had a good
Wait.
3 seconds to change that to another word, Ryan.
Wait, we're still online?
Fudge.
How are we still online?
Hold on. What happened?
Did we actually add the router and modem to the UPS? We did.
Are we still streaming?
Yeah. Skype's still running.
Yeah, I see it, and people are talking about your.
Oh, man, I almost want to leave that in if you didn't curse.
The FCC has come down upon you like a ton of fucking
It's
bricks.
almost long enough that was not a curse word because it just took
Hey,
too long.
are we
to
less
get-
pixelized though?
Hey, yes,
No,
very much.
we're
And I
still
can actually see
pixelized.
the
Hold on.
time.
We're
Oh, the camera turned off.
Oh, the camera is not set to auto power on.
Goes out,
The
only Ryan.
Camera
drops
went
off.
to sleep.
What if the zoom changed?
It doesn't really look like it.
Oh,
Well,
Hey, he's back! I'm so happy.
Hey, we've almost got that whole UPS thing nailed.
yeah. I don't even. No, because that didn't trip. The only one that tripped is
What on?
all the outlets outside. So the testing computers went off.
Ow.
These lights went off. But
That needs to be the intro.
we had a slight power outage. If you can give me a screen back up here, that would be good.
Yeah. I saw the 4K TV. I saw a flash from that direction, and like 3 seconds later, the power went out.
I mean, part of this money from the IndieGoGo project is going to go into an electrician coming back in here.
You saw a flashlight. Don't cook the light, Ken. Stay
Okay,
away
so
from
that
the
was fun. This is what you miss out on if you don't watch the live stream. Are we still recording and everything?
Yeah, nothing dropped. That
Nothing dropped?
direction.
Our computers, all the other computers in the office restarted. I'm watching them all turn back on. A small power break. Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, guys, Look at all these games you get with these graphics cards. I'm just moving on at this point because I don't know what else to say. But I do think it's impressive that if you buy a 7870 gigahertz edition, how much does that card cost?
250 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
You're getting 4 games.
Four games worth
three
$200.
full games, 3 full price games, and then the $15, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. So, pretty good stuff.
One thing,
Go ahead.
One thing to keep in mind with this too is that if you bought one of those cards recently, chances are if you contact AMD support, they will give you the codes for
I don't think
those.
that's the
They
case.
said no, they're not.
They
gonna
want. Well,
do
I
that.
don't know. Nvidia did that when I bought my.
That's right. Put the screws to
50
them, Maury.
Or
Yeah, get
Well, no, I'm
back
just
to us
saying, when I
on
bought my
that.
670, like a week later, 2 weeks later, Borderlands 2 was bundled in, and they
Yeah, AMD,
gave
did you hear
me
that?
mine.
Yeah, Nvidia did it.
Come on, Thrax.
Come on.
And they not
Come
only
on.
did they do it, but they did it better.
They did it. They're Nvidia. You can't let them beat you.
They just did it, and they want to do it again. Don't tell me they don't want to do
All right,
it.
all right. Let's move on before we have another power break. How about speaking of flashes on the screen? How about a hardware flashback?
All right.
Huh?
P5A, one of the first Super 7 motherboards out there. Somehow I got a hold of one of these damn things, and only about 15 years after I could have actually tested it and had,
God, I love those
some
processors.
hits. Yeah,
Just the way,
yeah.
just I don't know, something about the size, the texture to them.
Shiny.
I don't know what it was. Yeah.
See, note
ALI,
that never mind the middle
ALI
finger.
chipset.
Yep.
Yeah. Something interesting in this. Look, there's no colors on the
Yeah.
I/O. You have no idea which one is the microphone and the speaker port, or where you plug a keyboard in.
Oh
It's all
God.
black. Monochrome.
This is before they invented color.
Something like that. But yeah, I remember when this monstrosity came out. It was one of the first 100 megahertz Super 7 boards. Nand and Tom both got it, and I didn't. Then again, I only had like 7 articles out at the time, and I was just a big whiner. But
What's
yeah,
changed?
not much. Note, no heatsink on the chip, as well as
What process technology do you think that chipset was built on?
oh, good lord, it's got to be
Ken says 1 centimeter.
500 micron,
I don't know.
half a, you know.
Did you just get? Did you just get this?
I tore apart a bunch of computers at work,
Oh, okay.
and they had some great, nice, clean motherboards in there.
Did you have to dust them
So-
off a little bit at least?
No, this one came out really nicely.
Sniff
dust.
that board. Yeah.
Yeah. What was
Now
that
he's
fancy guy
dead.
doing?
Ken says. How's those lead fumes feel?
That's nice. Notice the chipsets. There are no heat sinks whatsoever
Yeah.
on this. Well, except
said
of course
that
the
already.
heat sink I took off the K6 too, but still.
It's impressive.
Can you remember when
Long motherboard is
152 was the premier layout, because you had to have a modem and a good sound card in the ISA still, and then you use nothing in the PCI.
You know what's funny?
And then one AGP card.
You know what's funny if you think back, like everybody moved to PCI because like PCI accessories were going to be so great. There was really nothing that ever came out that I needed a PCI card with until they moved sound cards to PCI. Right?
And even then, the
And
original.
even now, if you look at like PCI Express, I need a graphics card. That's about it, right? We have some unique cases with our stream captures and that kind of stuff. But how many PCI Express cards does an average person, Alan, you don't count, does an average person actually use in a system? My guess is 1.
Wait a minute. What do you mean I don't count? I'm the one that's always saying just use 1.
Well, you probably have like storage cards and other crap and stuff in there. I don't know.
And that's why there's only 1 video card. I can't fit anymore.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking most PCI Express slots in most cases are completely not being used.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, some people in the chat room are saying wireless cards. That's true. Especially if you're going to like 802.11 AC, you have to use PCI Express add-in card. You can't use USB yet. Thunderbolt. maybe in the future.
And by the way, for clarification, that is Super 7. It's a socket 7. It's not socket 370. Nothing else.
All right.
It's that. I have one other fun thing to show.
Okay.
I got this box from AMD the other day. This is the it's the new way they're shipping processors. This is the FX6350. So I have this rather, decent sized box, and I've got a lot of
Foam. Okay.
foam, and if you turn up the foam, I got to take off this rather large rubber band.
Large rubber band. Okay.
There's the chip.
You got to get it closer because it's real blocky.
Yeah, there's the chip itself under there.
Well, it's protected, isn't it?
So do you yeah, it's protected extremely well. So this is the new AMD CPU case that they'll be shipping everything to us with.
Oh, well done. Well done.
Yes.
All right.
And it smells good too.
So now we're going to get into our hardware, software picks of the week. Before we do, I guess I'll give a shout out here to Dylan Hinning, who tweeted out this picture to me, and he complimented us on the selection of music. Love the music, and there he is. Hopefully he's still watching, and that I didn't offend him with my use of a curse word when I thought the stream had been disconnected. But thanks for hanging out, guys. Hardware, software picks. Somebody put a link to a YouTube video on my thing, and I don't know if I want to click it. Oh, it's a Pink Floyd
No,
thing.
it's safe.
Oh, there's an ad in front of it.
Oh, that's ridiculous. There you go.
Okay. That's enough of that. So my pick is this thing that Josh made me buy.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank goodness. I thought you were going to show the other thing.
This is obviously the portal turret. I won't turn it on because it's pretty loud. I guess I will turn it on. Let me reach in its bottom here and pull out this thing. So, see, it's really loud. Right, and it lights up. It never stops until you turn it off. It's supposed to be like motion activated, right? I think. Wasn't that the deal? Maybe the motion thing is broken. I don't know. So that was a waste of $30. Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
I also have this. I don't know how you're going to get these, but I got one in a shipment today. Special edition collectible sticker. Your new GeForce GTX graphics card comes with a special piece of hardware. Finely crafted exclusive badge sticker.
Ooh, stickers.
We can't really zoom in on any of it here, but it's very shiny and very metally. And it's number 4 apparently. I don't know why. It contains metal. Don't affix to your PC's internals, your sibling's hair, or your pet. Stick once, stick wisely, it says. So I'm going to put this on the bumper of my car. People put Apple logos on their car, right? I figure it's the same thing. Yeah? That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I
Ask
got.
your wife first, Ryan.
Nah, she won't mind. Plus, it's my car. She can
That's
do whatever she
what
wants
you
to her
think.
car. Well, that's true. All right. Who's up next? Josh?
Me.
What do you got?
My children, they're hard on things
Okay.
because they're children.
Like you.
And they're hard on things.
Yeah.
I'm nice on things. Except my cat. Here, let me get my cat up here. My cat is bothering me,
Yeah.
and so I like to be hard on the kitty. Wait, that doesn't sound
Put the
right
cat
at
down,
all.
please.
Let me put the cat down.
For anybody watching the
because that
audio,
is
listening to the audio version, he
that
is holding up a
one
cat.
unshaven cat.
Please get through the rest of the episode.
Gigabyte makes some pretty decent mice. They have some laser gaming mice for only $19.
Would that cat want to chase
They're-
that mouse?
I don't want to go there.
Okay.
Anyway, $19, you get a pretty solid little Well, actually, they're pretty decent size, but they're laser gaming, multiple. I mean, they've got all the good features that you would expect. Higher DPI settings, a lot of buttons.
How many GBs
programmable.
does it have?
How many what?
GBs.
GBs? It's like 1/5 of a tenth of a GB.
Mhm.
Yeah, but anyway, doesn't have the bigger GBs. Yeah, they're nice for only 19, $20.
That's way cheaper than a lot of mice.
Yes, and when you have small children who like to abuse things, like cats,
Or their father.
why do you think I don't have any hair?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Alan, what is your pick?
I'm going with the 1 TB Seagate Slim, or not Slim, Seagate laptop SSHD. Mainly because it's not very often I buy something without having benchmarked it myself, but I've benchmarked the Slim version of it, and I just ordered the 1 TB.
I'm going to see what this one person says. Cons. The drive fails to update on the fly as Microsoft sends updates. It would run for a day before updating.
I would count that as not a good review. Like, that person doesn't know what they're talking about.
What does it mean it fails to update on the fly as Microsoft sends updates?
I think that's
Clearly,
Yeah.
my hard drive is faulty.
I don't think that has anything.
I think that person contributes text to badlipreading.com.
How many
Yes.
how many GBs does your selection have, Alan?
It has 1,000.
Ooh, that's way more than the GBs that Josh had.
Yes.
I'm excited so far. Okay. And let's see. Hold on. Let me. There's a video here of some kind as well. Let's go to Maury. Oh wait. Go ahead.
Ready? All right. My pick is Wolfenstein: The New Order. Basically, id contracted out the new version of Wolfenstein to a company in Sweden. I forget what their name is, but they're coming out with a new version of Wolfenstein. They're taking a kind of a different route with it. They're basically it's going to start in the 60s, and it's an alternate reality where the Nazis won World War II, and this world that you're fighting in is basically the Nazi-dominated universe. B.J. Blazkowicz is in it. He's been in an insane asylum for, since the end of World War II till he wakes up and, he gets to play with all sorts of wacky weapons and everything else.
Bethesda Softworks. That's just weird. I don't know if they can hear the audio, but
Yeah, see, Machine Games is the name of the studio. So.
While I was gone,
oh man, that drill's not coming in my eye hole, is it? Okay.
they set the world on fire.
Well, I don't want to play all of it because we
They
get taken
set
down
the
YouTube.
world on fire!
Perfect. I can't say anything wrong with that.
Unthinkable.
I don't know what's going on. Bullets, yes, bullets. I see bullets.
Yeah, what you're seeing is they're constructing one of their war machines, basically.
Aha. Nice music.
But I would argue that music would not exist in Nazi America.
Hey,
That's true, and the game kind of goes into that as well.
They're rewriting history. But they forgot
dum, dum,
about
dum,
me.
dum, dum. Can't they just use the music like Battlestar Galactica used modern day music and we just all accept it?
Yeah.
Or Bioshock? Well, that didn't. No, there was a reason for that.
Well,
Don't tell me because I haven't played
it's good,
it yet.
It's a good
Shut
thing
it.
you brought up Bioshock because it's in the
Nope, don't say it.
review.
Don't say
No,
it.
no,
I'm
Don't.
no
taking off
spoilers.
my
What I'm
earphones.
saying
Shut
is
it,
in
Maury.
a review of the game, they said that that the way that they took the universe, the Nazi universe, in the New Order is similar to what Bioshock Infinite did.
Interesting.
So, with their universe.
All right, that's going to be the episode here. As I refresh the page, we have gone from 52 hours left to 52 hours left on our IndieGoGo project. So if you are still interested in helping us fund a rewiring of our electric in the studio, please go to pcper.com, look on the right-hand side, click on the link to our IndieGoGo project, and make a contribution. And we thank everybody who has already supported and everybody who is going to support. We will have a final result for you next week. I tried to have PayPal ship me all the money in singles so I could stack it up on the table and just roll around in it for 45 minutes on the podcast. But I thought that would be a little crash. Crash. Would be that too. So that's it. I guess we got nothing else to say. Jeremy will not be back next week.
I do have a question for you.
Oh,
Do we ever get any email questions anymore?
yes.
Okay.
Would you believe if I said I answer them immediately?
And say, don't write to me again,
No.
you pervert.
I think what we're going to end up doing is part of this fund will the whole goal is to make new different shows, and I think a weekly QA show is going to be a part of that, and we're going to keep it separate from like the kind of news discussion side. But if it's
Hey, that's
okay,
a good
Josh,
idea.
I'll invite you in for that too.
You might have some answers that you will like to hear.
I'll probably have some answers I don't want to hear as well, but that's why we keep you around. So that's it. If you want to find us, pcpro.com/podcast is the URL to share. You can get links to the MP3s. You can get links to the YouTube videos. We do have a beta of a Roku streaming client, which can we include a link to that in the show notes? We'll include a link to that in the show notes for this episode, so you can watch us on your big screen TV and watch the power go out and me curse at you. Kids, we'll put a family-friendly, not family-friendly warning on it, I guess. And if you want to watch us live, which is all the Roku will do currently, right, is only for our live streams, is at pcpro.com/live. You'll see a schedule there. You'll see a schedule on the main site as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat room. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Alan Malventano.
And I'm Maury Tettleman.
He had the boom down. Now it's
I
up.
almost forgot it myself.
Now
Just
it's
waiting for
up.
Jeremy. Oh, it's me.
It happens.